Wilson Morales, Black from TV. Hello, ladies. How's it going?
Hey,
How are you?
hey, good.
First of all, obviously, Jodie, I've seen a lot of your movies, but not so often on TV.
Right, that's true.
Uh, I'm sure you said a lot of no's for a good minute. What led you to say yes?
Yeah, it's true. I didn't realize it, but I haven't done TV as an actor since the 70s. And in the old those days, you had to choose between the two. You had to choose between whether you're going to go the film route or the TV route, and I chose film. But now the truth is like the best narrative, everything that's great stories and the greatest characters are all on streaming now. So I've been directing quite a bit in television and producing there, and I've just been waiting. I've been waiting for the right thing, and finally, True Detective came along. So I got super flattered that I got to be a part of the lineage of the great True Detective franchise project.
Now, outside of the characters wanting to solve this case, both of them seem depressed and maybe flawed. All these characters are flawed when you watch these series. You know, how do you make them likable, or is that not the point of the show? Kaylee?
I think likable is not really the primary focus, at least for me. It's relatable. Like
Yeah.
you have to see relatable, whether you love to hate the character, whether they're gonna hate Danvers, but they're gonna love to hate Danvers, or any character for that matter. A lot of relatability is what you see. You can see yourself in every character, every story. You can see your villain part, you can see the hero part, you can see the depressed part, you can see the happy part, the mother part, the child part. I think that's what really makes a great series, or great characters in a series, that you can relate to even the circumstances of what they're fighting through individually, and the relationship between the two. There's somebody you love to hate, I'm sure, like whether it's a brother, sister, cousin, or somebody that you really work well together, or there's something you do well together, but you just can't stand the look of their face. You know what I mean? We all know that. And I think, especially with the True Detective franchise, they do that very, very, very well.
Yeah, there's some needling and button pushing between the two of them. It's really obnoxious. That's a lot of fun to watch.
But
Um,
when it comes to Liz, it seems that like she's respected but not liked. You know what I'm saying?
right?
Everybody
Yeah,
you see,
no,
like there's
she's
something,
awful.
there's some history there.
Yeah, she's awful. No, she's awful. She says a bunch of jokes that aren't funny, that only think she thinks are funny. She's mean to people. She's selfish and completely unconscious. She needs to wake up. And I love that. I love how flawed she is, and I love how, despite all of that, will go to the end of the earth for this woman, even though she hates her guts. And there's something really beautiful and true about that. I think that's what you look for. One of the really like the treasures that I was always look for in a character is just to ask myself, what are they ashamed of about themselves that they don't want anyone else to know? And once you've identified that, it's like you can build a character from the backwards way of like, okay, so what are they showing and why are they showing it and why are they choosing to communicate this way? Is it because they're hiding that? Yeah.
Now, I won't even try to butcher the pronunciation of the towns you filmed in,
Okay.
because it wasn't Alaska. We know that,
In
But
Iceland, yeah.
how was it filming there and dealing with the code, Kaylee?
Oh, it was filmed in Reykjavik and Akureyri. Those were the two ones I'm sure that looked. It was the only reason I know how to pronounce them is because we spent so much time there. But growing up in Rhode Island, New England area, it's cold, it's brutal, it's hot when it's hot, it's really cold when it's cold. So I was prepared in that respect, where I expected it to be cold, but it hits a little different when that Icelandic wind hits you. So,
Yeah.
and then to prepare or to be in the constant night and constant dark, it just adds a layer of ice, if you will. So it was a beautiful place, though, regardless of what the tone was intentionally set for the show. It was a beautiful place to set. I mean, every location we pulled up to was a beautiful character in its own right. And then, 2 in the morning when you get to look up and there's northern lights, it
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah, the nature part
Yeah,
of it is so important. And, this is supposed to be Alaska, right? So it's not Iceland, it's Alaska. And we got to bring Alaska to Iceland because we couldn't film in Alaska. It was too cold and too remote. And there are lots of places that we would have to film have no roads. So we had to transplant people. And that was so much fun, is watching all these indigenous people from Alaska hook up with some of the indigenous people that we had from Greenland, and some of them were cousins, and they all, like, a lot of them ate the same foods, and there was singing and like hanging out. Like they were too loud.
There's nothing too loud about indigenous people.
They
It's
got
just
too
how we
loud.
are.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Jody, you got a lot of years in the business. Kaylee, you got some catching up to do, but you're there already. But when we're working with Issa, who's wearing many hats on this show, is there anything you picked up from her that still helps you out skill set wise as actresses moving forward?
Oh,
That's a good question.
I've learned so much from her.
Yeah.
I mean, learned so much from her. I learned a lot from all the directors that I work with, and it's the secret reason why I'm still acting, is because I like to learn from the directors. I get to look over their shoulder and go like, why'd they do that? And I feel like I learned so much from her, just about who to be as a person, as a leader. She is my favorite leader. How she leads this group of people with like empathy and love and drive and vision, and she has a plan and she knows where she's going, but she's completely flexible to change that plan when other people enter into the room. So she is totally relational. Plus, she's a really good dancer and is the first one to get on the dance floor.
And
So,
she's hilarious too. Her patience was amazing. How her patient with herself, like you said, her openness and her ability to get exactly what she wants out of the scene, out of the characters, out of these actors in totally different ways. She's a chameleon in a way that she can just adjust herself to communicate and speak that actors, that performers' language to get the story and get what she needs out of them.
Outside, my question is, what did you guys do to get along as you guys were, because you guys shot for a lot of months? How long did it take before you guys got to really know each other?
it wasn't that long. We spent a lot of time together, but it's a long path, and that you really like each other, and you are really connecting when you're sitting around not saying anything.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of like,
Yeah,
we did a little like, oh God. There was some sighing, and yeah, but we really had each other's back, and I always knew that we were there for each other, and we complemented each other's performance. I would see that Kaylee was going for something, and then I would sort of adjust and play opposite that in order to center what she was trying to say.
Yeah,
This is the fourth. Go ahead, and you were gonna say.
Go ahead, ask your question. I was just.
Now, I was gonna say this is the fourth season. Obviously, each season is different from the other. Had you had a chance to see the previous seasons, or were you playing catch up, and did you watch it before, or did you have, you don't need to watch the first three seasons, but did you watch it just to get the tone in a way?
We
Yeah.
huge fan of the first, definitely the first season. I watched it more than once. I actually watched it while we were shooting.
Oh,
But
yeah.
then,
Oh,
yeah, not even for any kind of let me take this, let me take that. It was just something that was just in the tone of what we were doing. And I watched first and second season before we shot, and I actually caught up the third season after we shot. But I'm a huge fan of the show.
Yeah, me too. And it's just such an honor to kind of be a part of that little line of history between us, and to have a different place, right? Because True Detective is so much about the place. We have such a distinct part of America that most people don't see. This Arctic area that's just is kind of feels psychological and eerie and supernatural. So that was really rich for us.
That's the thing I said to Issa. I said, the invisible character is the setting, and people are always interested, especially when you look at the trailer, and then you have, okay, two female led, as opposed to the three guys, the three who led the previous seasons, so when you're looking at, I always tell people, like, nowadays with any show, doesn't matter how long they've been going, you still got to market it, because of streamers, we've got too much glut of programs, good and bad, out there. So it's a matter of marketing. What do you think is the sell of seeing another crime thrilling series?
I mean, True Detective is kind of just is a selling point in itself because it was such a successful franchise, and it has these elements that Issa definitely stuck to. The two strong detectives that have these individual crazy lives that are trying to solve this case to work together. They love and hate each other, but I think True Detective does it that with it. That's a sell, and people have been waiting to feel that same feeling of the first season that we all love so dearly. It's been a long time coming, and I know the supernatural part and the mysticism part, and like you said, the location of where it was. First season was so evident of the heat, the sweat, the brightness, the eeriness, and now you have the cold, the dark. So I think that's definitely a marketing tool in within itself.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I'm always like throw up my hands and just say, you got to make it good, man. You just got to make it good. It's got to be good. And I believe in that. I have faith in that. I have dumb faith. I am a fool for love. And if you make something that's beautiful and true that you believe in, I really believe it will connect with others.
There's a fan base there already. There will be a fan base after watching this again.
Tell your friend.
Congratulations on the series. Congrats on the roles. We'll talk down the road. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Wilson Morales from Black Film TV. Hey, Issa, how's it going?
It's going well. It's just such a joy to finally get the series out there where people can watch it and see what we did for so long.
Now, from what I've read, obviously you put this thing together, and then somehow it got meshed into the True Detective anthology series. But was there any talk as far as how to mesh it so that way for those fans who've watched all 3 seasons can feel that something similar and different?
Yes. There was not that much of a story at the beginning. I was curious about writing a murder mystery. I knew the setting, which was the Arctic. I knew the initial mystery, which is the disappearance of the scientists, and that was pretty much it, And I let it brew, as I do with the stories until they start speaking to you. And while that happened, I got approached by HBO with the question of what would I do with True Detective, and I was like, you know what? I took that because, and this is the beautiful thing, True Detective, especially the original first season, which is the one that really truly had an impact on me, was all about the setting. This sweltering Louisiana bayou, and this Cajun characters happening here and there, and full of secrets and full of cults and faiths and old gods, felt, and corruption, felt like a character in itself. And the Arctic and Alaska could give me that, no doubt, especially during the long night. And then the two characters that are holding masses of history and secrets, and that are trying to fix the horrors of the real world while dealing with the horrors they're carrying themselves. And I thought, I can absolutely take that, which is what really, really works about True Detective, and use these elements and just continue on the same vein, respond directly to that, but do it in this different environment. So it is the same, but it is completely different.
Was it always going to be 2 females leading the series, or is that something? Because obviously we all know that the last 3 seasons were all guys. This one's 2 females and 2 different diverse backgrounds.
Yeah, the thing is, I completely understand where Nick was coming from there, because he's a guy, and he was writing men beautifully. That especially that first season for me is like a meditation on what means to be a man, and male identity, and the way that a man deals with the secrets of the universe, and with the horrors out there, and tries to bring a little justice, and what type of man you are, and how they relate to women. It's all about the male experience, and it's great. It's really well done. So, and we had seen it. We had seen it to 3 seasons. There's Rachel McAdams in the second season, but she's only one of 3 characters. And if you look at the totality of the series, it's about guys. It's about men. And you have a chance to make a 4th season, and you have to take it into new territory, keeping the things that make it unique and that feel like True Detective, but you have to make it its own thing. The most natural thing is, let's answer to that male experience and male existential dread with the female version of it. And I went into that. Me, myself, being a Mexican woman, thought that at least one of the 2 detectives had to have some Latino genes, and I gave them to her. But I also knew that if I was going to set this story in the Northwest of Alaska, where 70% of the population is indigenous, she had to have also this makeup, because I don't believe in white people coming to save the day, So one of my characters is half Latina, she's half Dominicana, and half native from this region. So it's all connected to how do I respond to the questions that the first True Detective created.
The underlying character in this, as you mentioned earlier, is the setting. Alaska, the wild, the cold. People, we don't see that so often. There's movies that censored like that, but not so often. How challenging was it filming, with everybody, with the stories involved?
Well, it was tough. but that said, it was beautiful. You know, everybody in the team believed in what we were saying and doing, and the story we were telling. And I am a deep believer in collaboration. So even though the scripts were written and there were plans on how to shoot it, my favorite thing in the world is to get there and throw away the script and figure it out again there and make it alive in the place, in the conditions, with the wardrobe on. So, and my team loved it, loved the fact that they could put something that would change the scene and make it something alive. That said, you know, when you have to do that at 2 a.m. at -23 Celsius, it gets tough. You know, when you have 3 takes with each actor before they start to babble because they cannot move their lips right because they're freezing, it gets tough when your monitors start having a delay and you don't have sync because it's so cold that the liquid plasma doesn't respond. But what kept us going through that was just the joy of that, knowing that we were going to do an entertaining, fun series that tapped into some deep issues, and we all wanted to see it. We all wanted to see it on TV.
It's not that often we see Jodie, you know, do a series, you know, as opposed to films. And even when she does film, it's not like we're seeing her do film year after year. You know, what was enticing in getting her and working with her, as well as bringing in Callie?
Well, you just said it. You know, I don't think we get enough of Jodie Foster, and I wanted to see her again. I cannot get enough of her, and I know I'm not alone on that. So bringing her back as one of the best actors alive and giving her a canvas of 6.5 hours to explore this character that has such layers and surprises us so many times. And she can give us, the character gives us comedy and gives us grief and gives us rage. And seeing her going to all these places is such a treat for the audiences that have missed her. And then it's all about pairing. That's one of the things that really worked about the original True Detective, is the casting of those two, that they had such chemistry. So in finding this woman that was half Latina and half indigenous, I found Kaylee Reis, who is a force of nature, who's a warrior herself, but who could actually tap into that deep emotion of Navarro. And I just knew the moment that I saw those photographs that I had something of putting them together and going one against the other.
Before I let you go, what's your takeaway? You're wearing many hats on this series. What's your takeaway that you picked up doing this that you can take with you, whatever project you do next?
Well, you know, after shooting for 120 days, of which 49 were nights in the Arctic, in extreme weather conditions, a tremendously challenging series with action pieces, you come out of that with a superpower. I think I can shoot anything after this. Like, you become fearless, you know, and which is not so great. I'm a massive believer in always be afraid, because it will keep you on your toes. But after this, I feel very confident that I can take any challenge as a director.
It's an entertaining series. Obviously, from episode to episode, you learn something new that keeps them going, especially when it's a weekly series. So congrats on this. Look forward to see what you do next. Let the audience decide for themselves if we want more from you from these.
Thank you.
Take care.
So much.